Hey, it's Mary here at Wild Heaven Farms. I thought I'd take a minute and show you how I make sausage gravy. Now, I'm not making biscuits today because we're just eating them over eggs, which is something we like to do since we raise chickens. And I thought you might like to learn how I make my gravy. So I'm gonna bring you over here where you can see. Get you on the skillet. I always make it in my cast iron. I've already put the patty in, just however much I think I'm going to use or need, and I let it start cooking on medium. Then after it browns, I turn it over, and I keep a lid on it because I want to keep the grease in this pan. That's what's going to make the gravy. Spoon rest out. Everybody has their favorite gravy making utensil. Mine happens to be this garage sale find. That's actually from a Home Savings and Loan Association in Newton, Iowa. I probably paid $0.25 for it. Okay. So while that's cooking, I'm going to get out my flour. You can hear my dishwasher beeping. I turned it off to make this video. Let's see, where's my flour? Oh, here it is. It's getting low. So I use whole wheat flour. You can see that that's whole wheat. When I cut the bag, I'm getting close to the bottom. And so once it starts getting to this point, you can start breaking it up, but you still want to keep it under a lid. You may have a lid that fits your cast iron. I just use this one. And then I am making scrambled eggs with this. So I want to get my pan over here for that. It only takes it a minute. And if it starts burning, you want to turn your heat down. And then as soon as you don't see any more really red, it doesn't have to be done, we're going to start adding in flour. And turn the heat back down just a little bit. I go by strict measurements of however many sausage patties I put in, generally takes 2 spoonfuls. So I always just start by completely covering my sausage with flour. And then what I do is I take this and push it in. Smash it around, push it in, so that it will absorb all that grease. And then you just keep cooking it until everything gets nice and brown. Scrape up the bits off the bottom. And if you can see moisture still, you need to add more flour. Now I'm just making a little bit of gravy here. If you were doing a whole pound of sausage, you would definitely be using 7 or 8 big spoonfuls of this. So I can still see just a little grease in there, and we want it all to be dry because we want it to thicken without having to put any extra thickeners in it at the end. We want this to all cook the flour taste out. We don't want it to taste like glue when we sit down to eat it. So the best way is to just cook it. And I'm just going to let that toast a little more, let the flour brown. I'm going to turn my heat back up just a little because we're getting ready to add in the milk. Get that ready. I think it's safe to say I can put my flour up. You may recognize my fancy clip from a discount store hanger. I just break them off as needed. Okay, it's starting to brown. You can hear that little bit of grease sizzle when I press that. When I press that down. So I'm going to try to find a dry spot to put on it. I have never had gravy fail me when I make it like this. Okay, well that's cooking. I'm going to go ahead and get my, wrong burner, my egg pan warming, because this is a stainless steel skillet. It has to be warmed up in order for it not to stick. This smells great. It's really starting to brown. If you like a browner gravy, you can let it go longer. You just don't want to burn it. You want to keep it moving. Okay, let's see what am I going to do my eggs with. I'm just going to put a little butter in here. And let that melt. And that is just about ready. So I'm going to grab some eggs. And this one has freckles. Can you see it? Woo! Keep that moving. Okay, before I go any further with my eggs, I'm going to add in, if I can find some pepper. Pepper is the definite flavor profile for gravy, especially a breakfast gravy. And then, ooh, I'm about to sneeze. I'm going to add in a little salt. All right. And what you want to do is just take your milk and pour in enough to where it covers the meat. And then you want to stir it around. It doesn't matter how much gravy you actually want. You always want to start with just enough that you can really stir it good without it slopping out of the pan. And so once this mixture cooks the flour off, it'll thicken really thick and fast. So then you'll just add in more liquid, more milk, until it thickens up again, until you get the amount of gravy that you're looking for. And so the important thing is to keep everything moving so that it all incorporates. You can see it's boiling, which that's when it thickens up. Because I'm not using so much, I'm not going to have very much to add to it here. Okay. Let's see. Looking for something to scramble my eggs in. While this is cooking, oh, that's looking good. See how nice and dark this gets? I'm going to add in a little more. Incorporate that into the mix. And you just keep doing this until it's the amount of gravy and the thickness that you want. I always crack my eggs flat so that the shell doesn't come out with it. Instead of on the edge of a pan, I crack it, well, let's see, can you see this? Flat, like that. Okay, this is starting to boil again. I need to keep stirring it. You want to get it off the edges often as well. Whoop! Look at that, making a mess. Okay, so I'm just going to let these eggs scramble while my gravy finishes, and then I'll be able to call John to breakfast. I always eat my gravy on a piece of bread. He is trying to do no carbs or light carbs. You know, this has flour in it, but he'll be eating them on just scrambled eggs, which is super good. I like to eat a spoonful of blackberry jelly with mine as well. All right, this is the gravy. So you can cook it to get it as thick as you want. I know it's going to sit here for a second, so I'm going to turn the heat off. It'll continue to thicken while I finish up my eggs. You all know how to make scrambled eggs. You don't need to watch me do that. So I'm just going to sign off and call everybody down to breakfast. Thanks for joining me. Be sure to subscribe to my channel if you want to see more great, easy recipes like this.